Yeah, baby.
Oh.
Yes!
Woo!
Yeah, baby!
This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
Flip it over. The Sport Fishing Championship is done in the Dominican Republic, the second of our 2 stops so far this year. We still have 9 more to go, but this playing field, the Dominican Republic, Cabeza de Toro, as well as Cana for the Club Nautico Santo Domingo White Marlin Tournament. Great fishery, great fishing grounds, and they caught them this week. Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller here, the multi-time Sailfish World Champion. And welcome inside our SFC studios. Petey, you talked about it, never give up. We saw a battle throughout the day, all 3 days. This is our 3rd and final day, and it literally came down to the last minutes.
It's what you'd call a knockdown, drag-out fight, and it was a fish fight. These guys were taking it to the end. With minutes left in the tournament, people were still racking up the score. There were 108 marlin released in this tournament, or billfish, I should say. That is nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's not. And that never give up attitude. We saw guys catch big on day 1, nothing on day 2, come back strong on day 3. We saw a flip-flop. You want to be heading in the right direction, but again, it all starts with that first day. We had perfect skies, blue water, or purple water, as you like to say here in the Dominican Republic. And Team Grace started off early at 9:49 on Thursday morning. Now, predominance of white marlin in these waters. We did see a few blues. We saw some sails, but really the objective is to catch as many white marlin as you could find.
Well, that's exactly right, Robbie. We had a predominantly white marlin bite, and you can see the dredges going out right now. They're trying to dredge up as many fish as they can. They're dredging up old and new memories alike. They're straightening that one out. They're putting it out, and they're going to raise those whites. That's what they're here for. That's what they're going to win, you know, with a lot of whites, because that's what's happening. There haven't been a lot of blues around.
These are food imitators for these billfish out there in the water, and Grace had one early, their catch of the day.
And when you're set up next to those whales, look at that. You know there's bait around there, and that's exactly where you want to focus, because there's going to be a plethora of fish hanging out with those whales. And there it is, another rigger.
There's a crew member having to identify that particular fish, and they will keep camera contact the entire time. They have 30 minutes to have a legal catch.
Without that card, without that proof, it will not count.
As soon as the leader makes it into the end of the rod tip, that will be an official catch.
See the captain closing the gap, spinning the boat.
Backing that fish, or backing that boat up to the fish, trying to get a little bit quicker, take up some of that slack. And again, Grace, 13th place on day number 1 with that one white marlin catch. Let's go to Sustituta, who finished a little bit better on day 1. They were in 10th, a couple of white marlin for Sustituta. And again, this fishery, the grounds, they didn't have to go far. That first ring is about a 10-mile launch away from the shoreline. Sustituta, not too far outside of there. But you see 2 catches, 2 white marlin catches before noon.
That's beautiful, calm water, and we've got the traditional east-southeast breeze. That is what they're dealing with. 87 degrees, looking nice out there. And you see the dredge, Robbie. We've got a ton of different kind of squid on there, and we have the weights, and we have the mud flaps that we talked about earlier, and that is a fish aggregating device of their own.
Yeah, we hear oftentimes FADs, and that's what it stands for, fish aggregating device. A FAD could also be a pallet out in the water.
Yeah, but the FAD's typically anchored sometimes on the surface, you'll see it. Other times it's subsurface, so the guys can kind of hide it, and they have the GPS coordinates on it, and they need to go find it. And we're not going to go find it on our own.
Again, looking at the different techniques, we didn't get to see a lot of this when we were in the Gulf at Venice. Different parts of the country and the world that we'll go to, you'll see different styles.
Dredge fishing is one of my favorite ways to do it, and you get to look at that footage at the end of the day to see what you missed.
What worked and what didn't. Let's go on board with Sustituta.
Porque adelante.
It wasn't a Sancocho, it was a broken line. Unfortunately. It was a double header. We missed one. I missed one.
Terminology there is you sawed one off because your line rubbed on the other line. At least he admitted it. That's a good teammate.
Míralo ahí.
Doble línea.
Doble línea.
Over the line.
It's the bimini twist. Leading up to the wind on leader.
Mira la especie.
And they're at that 20-foot mark right there. I mean, it's a length of a Suburban or something like that, a length of a full-size car.
Length of my Lincoln 64.
Yeah,
18 feet.
Your entourage mobile.
Yep.
Good job, guys. 2 fish for Sustituta. They would get white marlin in total for the week.
You see how everyone participates in the release of that fish. Everyone had their hands on that one. Again, beautiful calm water rolling out there, outriggers out, baits deployed, dredges out, squid chains.
Sisu, one of the ones to look for. They stayed on top for most of the weekend. Again, the team on that day number 1, they were one of the ones to beat with 5 white marlin. Nothing else, but those white marlin, again, would be key. You're going to see some blue marlin mixed in as well from other teams, but those white marlin were imperative. And look at that, the 5 different catches. You spread them out from 8:47 in the morning till 4:16 during the afternoon. That's catching them all day.
They are on fire in Spanish, and fuego. Caliente.
I love your Spanish.
You know, when you
Living in
travel,
Miami will do that.
Well, when you travel around in Costa Rica and Venezuela, when I was younger to go fishing, that's what you needed to be able to communicate.
And the white marlin are also smaller than the blue marlin that you may have watched when we were in Venice. More plentiful here, but you can also get them in a lot quicker.
Yeah, they range in size from 40 to 50, 60, 70 pounds. Typically, you can get them to the boat very fast.
I think about 4.5 minutes would be the average white marlin reel-in time, and talking to one of the officials earlier today, the blue marlin that were caught in about 28 minutes. There's the difference.
Now, if you have a single on, that's the number we're talking about. But if you have a double, triple, or a quad and they
Different
spread
story.
out, you're talking all 30 minutes. You're going to use it all up.
We've got a runner. As a tournament fisherman, I don't want to see that. As a fun fisherman, I want to see that. And again, that also a little tail wrap there. Again, some jumping and flipping so much is always a possibility, but their deal is to release that fish back out there in the waters, safe release. We can catch that billfish another day.
Look how dry they are. The cockpit's bone dry.
Day one looked really nice. All 3 days, to be honest with you. You always talk about how the water kind of moves in and out, kind of slaps off the bank and then comes back out. But these were relatively calm days, all 3.
You're exactly right. It's only blowing 5 miles per hour as of now.
We've got more. Donya Lucy takes the lead on day 1. How would the rest of their week look? We're going to follow them along all 3 days here on SportFishingChampionship.com. We're at the Club Nautico Santo Domingo White Marlin Tournament, stop number 2 of our tour.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in, plot your paradise. with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
It all comes back to the water, this binding agent, this fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the CNSD White Marlin Tournament is brought to you by Yugo Waterproof Products, Centered Wellness, and by Sword Fishing Products.
Underneath the water there. That's what it looks like from a billfish perspective, rounding up the bait fish. The sailfish love to do it. The Sport Fishing Championship, our second stop, heading out of Cabeza de Toro and Punta, Cana, Dominican Republic. They come out, turn left, went towards the Atlantic, or stayed a little bit closer and stayed in the Caribbean. Moonstruck on day number 1. They were one of our front runners, top 5, catching 4 white marlin on that first day. One of the teams to look for. We were on board.
Always have an ample supply of those baits with chugger heads. You know, we're going to try to raise up a blue marlin with those. And then we'll have the naked ballyhoo going for the white marlin.
You see how long it took to rig that, right there. I mean, literally seconds. That's why they do all that preparation before they even get out there on the water.
They call it Preparation H.
Where do you come up with this?
It's a hookup, Preparation H.
One thing we haven't talked about is 3 different anglers on board, and they rotate their catches each time. If they catch one, okay, now the next guy moves over 1 spot to the right.
Wally hooked up. Looks like they've obviously got a double on.
Wally Heinzen, a long-time standard of the Dominican Republic bill fishing scene, got a jumper. At this point, you're not far from that 20-foot leader.
No, it's close. It's palpable. A little excitement there, huh?
Yeah. Well, there's another bend in a rock.
That's right, they got a double header. Fun fact, that little green squid thing you're seeing, it's called flippy floppy.
All right, 1 down, 1 to go.
Okay, this is good. We got the first one. Let's go for the second one now. Mírala ahí, ya se ve nítida. Mírala ahí, claro que sí.
On board Moonstruck. This is from day number 1 on Thursday, just 2 days ago.
Mírala ahí, mírala acá, mírala acá. La va a romper. ¡Date bien! Ya, y ella está ahí. Dale para atrás.
Everybody's got something deployed because they saw another fish pop up while he was fighting that fish after releasing a fish. They were in them.
And watch here, watch the man near side. The second they release that fish, another one's out there in the line.
You don't want to tangle. Don't tangle right at the end there. He waited.
But they got another bait in the water. You see another bait in the water? Nice job from Moonstruck. Let's move on over to Amigore. Now that means like my biggin. I mean my big boy.
It's a
we're
feminine.
seeing
It's feminine, so it's like a bigger.
Yeah, bigger
feminine.
on that side. But what I'm saying is, Amigore, there's not much fat to be cut here. They were muscling in the marlin this week.
Right. This is their workout. This is how they stay non-gored up.
13th after day one with this one white marlin. At 8:49, they released that bad boy. And again, you're getting the direction of where to go, the mate, the anglers all working together. And that is a calm day. It's always like that. That's kind of rollier than we saw earlier, but that's still a fairly calm day. Reasonable.
Reasonable. Always have a little swell there with little white caps rolling by. Perfect.
Excellent release.
Hey, we told you we're gonna give you hell of a show, right?
They finished their workout for the morning.
Yep.
One set of white marlin right there.
Let's go to Sea-Wish. They were 6th after day one. 3 white marlin on the board. Again, the white marlin worth 125 points apiece. If you catch a blue marlin, you have 350 points for that fish, unless it's the first white marlin of the tournament, and you get an extra 100 points. So again, move on to our next pair. Let's see what they had to offer on this first day of the Sport Fishing Championship in the Dominican Republic. Team Sea-Wish. Unfortunately, Peter, in this, as he's pointing out other fish, and they're about to try and get the lines in from 8:18 to 10:59, then their day shut off.
You're right. And you see the fellow on the left in the blue shirt snapped it out. He had a fish up on the teaser there, the squid chain.
Con calma. Pide número, pide número. Pichi la cámara, ya te sabe el número. Recógete, Yankee. Recógete, yo me quedo aquí.
See the crossover as well between the anglers. They either multiple items are out at one given time. You can't get caught up. That could be your demise.
¡Para! Está bien, tranquilo, Chiri, con calma, deja que coja ángulo.
Down and dirty. You got the pecs out.
Arriba ahora.
And then
chill a little
ultimately,
bit.
they're going to come up.
Deja que se vea bien, papi, suave.
Got the leader. There's your official catch.
Ok. ¿Qué tiene? Para. Dale.
Rounded dorsal fin there. You know it's a white.
Sí, es un blanco. ¡Agua blanca! ¡Hey, yo!
High fives all around for that team. But they would not be our top team after the first day of competition. That would be Donya Lucy. They started off big, and they caught a couple of different varieties of our billfish. This was in the morning. Look at what they caught. From 811 to 135, several white marlin and 2 sailfish. That could be key.
And this is a double right here with the sailfish on the right, and on the left they've got a white marlin. So as you can see, they swim together, birds of a feather, flock together.
Now we'll get to see that ballet we were talking about, the crossover or not.
Arturo es 74.
the engines back up. You're seeing that water push. Much calmer than one of the other boats we saw earlier.
Sure is. And you can hear those turbos kick in. And he's got the leader.
Once he's at that point, it's a legal catch. If there's another fish on, now we can get ready to get that one, bring it in quickly. Is that the sail now? Went to the other side?
That's the white
That's
right
the white.
there.
Okay, but I saw the sail on there. I was wondering if they did a crossover. Again, we broke this down in time, making it easier for you to see. And a nice release, a nice billfish release as well. So again, you see our 8 boats that had cameras on them. We were covering 31 boats in total as far as our official tallies and our points are concerned. Robbie Floyd and Peter Miller with you. And 31 take off, but only one could be crowned champion here today. And it literally came down to the end. We see Donya Lucy fighting those fish, multiple species. Was that just a happenstance? They were in the same area, or were they targeting those fish, do you think?
Well, Robbie, they kind of walked the tightrope on that one because they were in an area which is a little shallower than the rest of the pack, and they wound up encountering sailfish and white marlin. So they were kind of one of the few that did that, and it proved to be successful. They wound up with a bunch of whites and a few sails, and you got to love those sails. Not a lot of points, but they can push you to the next level. 75
could make the difference. Each sailfish worth 75, where the white marlin worth 125. A man who knows his points is on site, so let's go on site with Site 1. Matt Klosterman with the Sport Fishing Championship. Good to have you back, buddy. And things are looking really good for one of our teams. We have not let the cat out of the bag, but it came down to the very last second. What was it like out there on the beach when these guys came in?
We're here at the beach. It was a really exciting event. As Peter said, it was a barn burner down here in the Dominican Republic, and it came down to the last 2 minutes. So with 2 minutes left on the clock, the Donya Lucy tags a white marlin that would catapult them to victory in the SFC down here at Cap Cana Cabeza de Toro event. So just a great ending to a great 3 days of fishing.
And we're going to have it for you here in just a minute, because it was about some struggles as well for the Donya Lucy. Now, were you able to talk to any of the teams specifically when they came off the water and find out how their day was going? Were the fish where they thought they would be? What was happening out there on the water from their perspective?
Well, one thing we noticed right off the bat this morning when the boats left, they all took a hard right headed to the south, Peter, down to the bank where the white marlin had been, and it paid off for them down there. 31 white marlin released today. Again, just a spectacular day of fishing down here in the Dominican Republic, which is exactly what we expected when we came down here. So just really happy to wrap it up in the way it did.
That's absolutely fantastic. I have a number here of 108 billfish released for the tournament. That's pretty incredible. Any misses? They talking about ratios or anything like that?
Yeah, Peter, the bite was super aggressive on the first day, on Thursday, and that's when a lot of the teams feel like they missed their opportunities on a lot of missed fish. One of the boats I talked to was 2 for 10, so, batting 20%, not what we're shooting for, but they were in good spirits, and they're out to do it again. That's the way fishing is, and we all know it that have done it, so we keep at it. But yeah, Thursday was when we had the most misses. It seems like most of the teams got dialed in here on Friday and Saturday and really didn't hear of that many misses today. What opportunities they got, they capitalized on.
That's right. You gotta dust yourself off and try again, as they say.
Hey, thanks for all the info out there, the Scoop, Matt Klosterman. We look forward to talking to you at our next stop, maybe in St. Augustine. But again, the Sport Fishing Championship on this final day. Matt kind of let the cat out of the bag, but you see 41 whites on day 1, day 2, 27 whites, 34 whites on day 3, and we're going to walk our way through them and take a look at day 2, and also maybe a man overboard in the Sport Fishing Championship. Something you never want to see, something you never want to hear, but it happened here today. Stick with us.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the CNSD White Marlin Tournament is brought to you by Invincible Boats, Salt Life, and by Sea Home Watches.
Welcome everyone watching on SportFishingChampionship.com, the second stop of our 2022 campaign, CNSD White Marlin Tournament. Day number 2, look back and see how it all went down. Team Sisu was in second after day 1 on Thursday. And day 2 on Friday, they were good. They had fish. They had fish on. They're a front runner. All's well, Peter Miller, until it's not. The 63-foot Hatteras, it can push some water in more ways than one. Let's take a look at what happened.
Well, they're backing hard into that to get that fish, to get that release. You see the waves coming in. It's starting to get a little marginal at this point.
Everything's okay. The team's cheering each other on.
Ankle deep's okay. I'm good with ankle deep.
Shoulder deep might be a problem.
Knee deep. Chest deep.
Really not good.
That's a scary situation, guys. That's super scary, but luckily you see him back there. He's okay. Thank God.
Instantly, that captain knew, already had it in push mode. Instead of backing up at that point, he knew he was taking on too much. You could tell as he launched forward, he was getting away before he actually went in the water.
That's what popped him out of the boat.
Right. Yeah, that exactly.
The wave from the back of the boat as they launched forward pushed him out of the boat. And he was already in forward, and he gave it a little thrust, and he actually blew the guy out of his prop wash.
He saw it coming before it happened, and that was a very dangerous motive or thing, and our catch and release turned into release and catch.
Wonder if they're going to throw him back. No, they're keeping him.
No, they're keeping.
They're going to put him in the cooler.
Miguel Ricard's a keeper.
Yep, we're gonna put him in a slush, which is ice and salt water, keeps him extra cold.
Miguelitos wore out though. Look at him. I mean, he's like, man, I haven't tread water that long in years.
Anybody see a rod?
Yeah.
No, not there.
I'd be looking for Huey right now.
Rods are replaceable, people are not. So thank God we got him back. He's doing a little freshwater wash down.
Great job by the captain again. He saw it coming before it happened, and that little thrust forward is what did it. And again, at this point, he knows he's already going forward with the boat. But what happens when you dump the clutch? Well, you pop a wheelie.
You see the rod go over, the angler go over, and the captain throws it in forward, and he literally got blasted out in the prop wash.
That was like a full-on endo for the former motocross rider, and it was like grabbing some front brake for him. Yeah, and that was actually yesterday on day 2. Let's follow Amigore. We saw them earlier. Again, this is day 2 where they... Let me see, where did they have it? Well, their day wasn't as good. 1 on day number 2. That put them in 10th place.
This is a team that likes to party. They keep it really light in the cockpit.
You think?
Yep, and this is their workout for the day. You'll see in a minute here, Robbie.
And really the struggle is when you wait till 104 before you have a legitimate fish on, that's hard on you.
It is. Mentally, you're just second-guessing yourself the entire time. That can really
Amigore is the team we saw fighting the bigger waves earlier in the tournament on the day prior. Now we got shirts off, sun's out, guns out.
That's right. Should rename the boat to Muscalito.
Woo, that's close.
That's close proximity. We've got a spear coming in at 3 o'clock.
We're definitely in our 20-foot leader range.
Yes.
And at this point, it's all about the safe release.
Here we go. Spring break has just kicked off.
Yeah. All those crunches paid off.
We did it, baby.
Ready?
On the board.
Okay. Hey, everybody, people, discover fishing in Dominican Republic, baby.
That's adrenaline at its finest, right there.
We're the first word of the day. A little bit late, but we're going to get them others.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Working on my Spanish lesson. Muy bien. That was very nice. Sustituta, the substitute. Let's take a look at them again. Day 1 on Thursday, 10th place with 2 white marlin. Day number 2 moved up to 6th place, or a tie for 6th with 2 more blue marlin.
Those are called strip teasers right there, believe it or not.
What?
And they're mylar strip teasers, and they have holographic fish designs, reflective, and they go in the water. It's a dredge. It's amazing. You roll them up, put them away with a rubber band. Yes, strip teasers.
Say it like you told me earlier, a mousing.
A mousing.
Okay.
Very, very effective.
2 fish each day. Is that going to get it done, though? When you're saying, okay, I got 2 whites day 1, 2 whites day 2, 2 whites on day 3, probably not going to get it done.
Typically, you want to be in the top 3 or 4 every day, and then you're going to be somewhere at the end of the tournament. That's basically the equation that you want to kind of fall into.
Yeah, we're taking a look back the past 3 days, or today and the past 2 days. Sustituta, I'm not sure if we'll get to see them again, but I'm almost foretelling their future. A little popping off the snap ring or setting it there. They would catch 2 fish on the 3rd and final day.
That's about 10 wraps on that. Flip it in there, and it keeps it low, and it keeps it down in the water, so the marlin doesn't have to jump out of the water to eat the bait. Obviously, they're hooked up there. The water's looking beautiful.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to our cameraman out there for 3 days, solid, getting some great shots for us here on the SFC.
Yeah, they're doing an amazing job. They're having a great time. These guys love what they do. They wouldn't do it if they didn't love it. But it is tough on the body. It's tough mentally and physically, but they're enjoying it. And then they get to go and tell stories to everyone else about how they just came back from the DR and did this and that and saw 108 marlin releases.
We got a submersible here. This one went deep. This one wasn't bouncing on the top.
There it is. Just popped up right when you said it.
A 20-pound main line, heavier fluorocarbon leader on there, but relatively light line compared to what we saw at Venice 1 week ago.
This is what you want to use for this fishery. You keep it light, they stay up on the surface. The drag comes off, about 5 pounds of drag, and they stay up high. More pressure, they dive down, they get down and dirty. He's got the fish on the leader right there. We got the release, white marlin.
Great job. You see the captain backing up. Everything as quick as possible. They can put lines out in the water, take care of it. Now it's just up to the release. Popped it off. We're good. So Sustituta, 2, 2, and 2 for 6 white marlin for the tournament. Day number 2, though, let's move to Grace. We saw them on day number 1 have some struggles. 1 fish. They wanted to come back strong on day 2, and if I remember right, they were our first catch of the day.
And you see this bite happened from behind the rocket launcher. He's coming around. That's an interesting spot to hang out, but that's his honey hole apparently.
Seeing some vegetation out there as well floating.
Sargassum from the Sargasso Sea.
One thing I have not seen, we saw one, was I would expect to see mahi around those areas. I'm really shocked we did not see a championship fish mahi yet. And again, they could be weighing one in today, but we did not see a mahi really of any size. That surprises me.
It is surprising. It could be because there's a heavy gathering of white marlin kind of pushing them out of the way. Saying, hey guys, listen, we're here to party and we want to eat everything we see, so just kind of move on. Nothing to see here, folks.
Breaking up ground. Look at how fast he's reeling.
Coming straight at the boat, going around the corner. That's the blue marlin right there.
That's extra points. That's the 925 fish. That's 350 points. And oftentimes with light line like that, you don't want to pop it on, especially a blue. But if they make up that ground, get the fish in the leader, get that leader in the rod tip, it's done.
Sure is. That was one angry elf on the end of that leader.
That one fish made the difference. Again, 350 for a blue marlin. White marlin only worth 125 points. You can catch 2.5 whites to equal that one blue.
Say angry elf one more time.
I'm not.
Just want to get nervous when he almost gets caught in the dredge that's suspended from the rigger. Remarkably, it all works out. Because they're professionals.
Not only are they doing it, they're doing it well. And doing it well. They did it twice.
I think he represents Queens.
Now, he has never been to Brooklyn. Happy about that blue marlin. That really makes a difference. We got to see, 3 blue marlin in this tournament being caught. That was one of them, and that's a big, big moment. You catch a couple more of those, you're probably winning this tournament.
It's always nice to see him jump. I love those jumps right at the boat.
Speaking of a team with a chance to win this tournament, Team Sisu, they were in second place after the first day. Remember, they caught 5 white marlin. Day number 2, pretty strong as well. 2 whites for them, and also another blue marlin. So they had that lull in the day as well. 9:37 early catch, that's good, but between 12 and 2 and nothing else after, I'd like to see a little more consistency if I'm on that boat going, come on, fellas, we got to find one.
Yeah, 2-hour waits, 2.5-hour waits for the bite can make you feel a little dejected.
And those are qualified released fish. We don't know how many they actually had on the line because, again, the execution, like Matt Clausen was talking about, if it's anywhere near 50, you're not doing your job. We heard one team at only 20%.
That's why I kept asking that question ad nauseum, to be honest with you. I wanted to hear what else we were seeing. What weren't we seeing? That's what I wanted to know. How many fish were there? So if you think about it, there could have been 300 fish in the spread, but there were 108 fish released.
Team Sisu is one of our front runners from the get-go. Again, had the second best catch on day 1. Sisu had the best catch on day 2. Put them in the lead going into that final day.
See how dry he is right there?
Are you saying he's not like Miguel was? The entire team's dry.
Yeah. Boat's dry, he's dry.
And the fish is released. Say, come on back. He's like he's backing up a trailer. Come on back. Come on back. 5 more feet, we good.
Tail hook scandal.
Yeah, there's what happens when you get a peppy fish. Sometimes gets tail wrapped, but they release it. It's back out there swimming. Maybe you or I can catch it, not tomorrow, but day after tomorrow, Peter.
Deal. I'll buy the plane tickets.
All right, I'm there. Again, our second stop of 11 in the Sport Fishing Championship in the Dominican Republic. We've seen day 1, we've seen day 2, and here's how it went down after day 2. Sisu with their consistency, first and second catches on day 1 and 2, well out in front. They had that lead. Things would not go so well for Sisu on day number 3. Bandolera, Fresh Air, several teams with a chance if Sisu failed, but a look ahead with Smith Optics will take us to our next stop. It's an Atlantic stop, standalone, the NEFMA Blue Water Tournament in St. Augustine, Florida. Now, the event here in the Dominican Republic, you can put points towards the Gulf or the Atlantic. You have to decide. But when you make your way to the northern Florida area, we're all Atlantic, baby. for the first time.
It's, you know, two divisions, as we know. We've got the Gulf, we got the Atlantic, and the winner of the Atlantic division is going to get a $100,000 prize just for their own division, and the Gulf will get the same.
Again, we're tying all of these events together, some of the best events around the country and international waters, some magnificent facilities and launch areas. We're bringing them together to crown one champion, and that grand champion will win $1 million at our final stop in Puerto Rico. We've talked about day 1, day 2, day 3, and is coming up next. And I promise you, you don't want to go anywhere.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough. Or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
SFC coverage of the CNSD White Marlin Tournament is brought to you by Smith Optics, Hop Water, and by Radisson Blue Resort.
The beautiful blue waters of the Dominican Republic near Punta Cana. Two different takeoff points, Cabeza de Toro and Cap Cana here in the Dominican Republic. Our 8 boats that had cameras on them, getting you all the scoop, all the inside. Team Y360, they are big because they were our first blue marlin catch of the tournament. Gave them the 450 points instead of 350, and they were progressing. Day number 1, the 3rd best catch. Day number 2, the 6th best catch. And day number 3, only 2, but they were white marlin. So again, they had some consistency, just not quite the numbers that they needed.
Obviously, he was keeping it out to the side to keep that bait in that clean water. He's already dropping back. Always want that bait in the clean when you're dropping back so they can see it.
And you know they had to be stoked also having that first blue marlin. That was very big. I was pivotal. We're saying, okay, this team keeps catching blues. They could run away. Didn't happen that way, though.
And you're also not second guessing yourself. When you caught a blue on day 1, you're feeling really good about everything. You're thinking, okay, everything we have out is looking good. Let's stick with it.
Y360 out of Fajardo, Puerto Rico. 62-foot boat. Ray Fontanez, the owner. Yadire Olivo, the captain on those vessels. And I don't know if I'd want to be a captain. I mean, these guys are having all the fun catching, but it's a team sport, isn't it?
It's like the captain is the quarterback, and yes, it's a team sport, and the captain has a massive job to do, and you can't second guess the captain.
What he says goes. You see right there, a little backing it up, and it's we need a higher speed reel because he is crazy. He's going to burn. I see smoke.
He's got a high speed reel. If he goes any higher, the thing's going to blow up.
You want to talk about making ground? Look at that. Holy smoke.
We got matching outfits too. For Animal Central, let's do it.
Fly 360. We go on to Moonstruck. Started off in 4th place on day number 1. Day number 2, it was a blank. They didn't catch anything. Again, you can't have zeros and expect to win, but sometimes, you just got to keep fighting. Day 3, much better. Around noon and at 2:06, able to catch 2 white marlin. This is Moonstruck, getting 250 points on the board from their day 3 catch today.
And once again, we've got Wally hooked up. You could signify Wally by his red cap. He's always on the fish. He's a very good angler. He's been doing this his entire life.
And a lot of these guys will fish together at Puerto Rico. They usually have almost like a Ryder Cup event, and I believe they finished, Team Dominican Republic finished 2nd last year behind Team USA.
Nice thing about the Central America, South America, and also Caribbean over here, you can practice your dropbacks, whereas you can't really do that all over the world. This is a great fishery, and you get so good at it by all the practice you get because there's so many fish.
Come through. Yes.
Moving around on this 3rd and final day, we got a little saving grace for you. Go back on board with Grace. Again, our first catch of day number 2, caught a back-to-backer. And then again on day 3 at 8:19 and 11:52, another set of white marlin.
That's a 4-hour wait there. That's a tough one.
Well,
waiting them out when everyone else is racking them up.
Siesta time.
You never see us in a tournament.
Restaurant wasn't open anywhere.
4-0, 4-0.
40.
40.
He's telling him 40. Is that his drag?
That's his number for the fish.
Ahí va a volar.
You said percentages of numbers on the reels of how they can power these billfish in, and that looks like a good catch. Pops it off, looking for that release. Solid run. It's our final day of competition, the Sport Fishing Championship. Day 1 leader, Donya Lucy. They were the day 1 leader because they had 650 points. A 0 on day 2. Were they out of it? The answer is no. Look at that. White marlin, white marlin, white marlin. It came down to the end. They needed 1 fish with 15 minutes left in their day. But again, Donya Lucy, if this is where they were at, they went deeper than the rest of the field.
They call that a comeback. They crept up the leaderboard all day today.
Now the thing is, there were 5 teams within 1 fish of victory today. Donya Lucy was one of them. This was their first catch of the day.
They stayed super consistent.
Peter, the dejection after going from hero to 0, I mean, how do you shake it off?
You just have to know that, it's gonna change. It's like playing golf. One day or 2 holes you're gonna hit them perfectly, and then all of a sudden you're gonna hit them astray, and you're gonna have a rough day. But you always come back because you know it's gonna get better at some point. It's the same thing with fishing right here. They know what they're doing. They just didn't get to the area that they needed to be in yesterday. But today, they're on fire, and they're working their way up the leaderboard like climbing a ladder.
And look at it. Look at the expedience. Here's our second catch on the Donya Lucy. You saw how expedient they were. They knew they had ground to make up.
And you see how agile they are with that light tackle. They're moving around, rod under the armpit, sideways this way. They're moving right there. He's in the rod tip. He's already got the release. Now it's just a question of getting the fish back to leader them.
It's getting the work done. So 1, check the box.
Catch and release right there.
2 white marlin, check the box. 3rd blue marlin?
This is the 3rd blue marlin. They're basically...
Or white marlin, excuse me. For me, I said blue marlin. 3rd marlin, though, same day?
Correct.
And it's all right. I mean, you have a little chiquito. You get a little guy, that's okay. Get him in quick. Get the rods back, get the lures back out there. Let's go.
That's what you want, Robbie. You want small, manageable marlin in these tournaments. The big boys, we're not hanging fish on the dock anymore. That's a thing of the past. This is catch and release. You want to get them fast, either cut the leader or they pop off with a light leader. They saw through it. There it is. There's number 3, catch and release, and we're going to number 4 right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Fish on. Out there a little ways. Now let's watch and see. You can tell they're moving forward. Let's see if they continue that trend. Fish up there wagging that tail.
You're always going to have it in forward once you hook up. You want to keep that tension going because those white marlin are fast and they're typically going to jump in a circle and then come at you.
At this point, is he just reeling or is the boat backing up though?
The boat is still in forward. It's about to stop. But you want a double header. He just put in reverse and here we go. Now it's time to get that fish. It's going to be a fast one, I have a feeling. When you see the mate already bend over reaching, it's quick.
Again, we cut it down just a little bit. This is the 4th fish of the day for Donya Lucy, our day 1 leader that zeroed on day 2. And the excitement right now, what do they say in Dumb and Dumber? When you're saying?
So you're saying there's a chance. Like 1 in a million? Yes. This is number 5 for Donya Lucy. Number 5. They're in a 58-foot boat. This is no joke. They're fishing on a beautiful platform. We're a little down and dirty on number 5.
Cannot afford to lose that fish, and when it's pulling like that, you got to be very impromptu on the drag.
It's point precious. You want this fish. This is very valuable, and they know they're creeping, and they're working their way up the board. Everybody knows where they stand in these tournaments. They're so close to shore. They have the ability to know who's got what.
We haven't talked about that. When they get this one in, they know they get the points, and they're hearing all of these fish catches come in. They know exactly where they're at. That's a legal catch. At this point, with 10 minutes left, with 5 minutes left, with 2.5 minutes left until lines are out, they hook up.
And this is number 6 for them.
This is the winning fish if nobody else catches one. They know it right now. They've got 30 minutes to get this fish in the boat for a legal catch, or up to the boat for a legal catch.
Nerves are high right now. The angler does not want to do anything crazy, so he's kind of chilling, letting the fish run.
It could have been 1 second from the end of the day, and if they would have called that fish on, they had 30 minutes from that point. So, this is the whole tournament right here for Donya Lucy.
It's happened to my team and I countless number of times where we had 1 minute left in the tournament. We've hooked up with multiples.
20-pound monofilament, a heavier leader on there. Just run it to the tip. If they get a legal catch, this is the championship in the Dominican Republic.
And they got him.
Boys and girls, 2.5 minutes from lines out. They catch a fish, but they know they still have 2 minutes to try and catch one more.
And they're not 100% sure where they stand, to be honest with you. After I looked at their faces, they're not 100% sure where they are.
It started off well in the morning, 9:43, 54. Those are back-to-backs, and then you see that lull, 12:47, 1:36. But when you get that next to last fish, you know you've got a chance. They were actually 1 fish away for a couple of hours. It took till literally the last 3 minutes of the tournament to win this thing. The leaderboard looked like this coming into that final day, and this is the way it ended for Donya Lucy. 1275 over the 1250 of Fresh Air, who made a valiant run as well on the 3rd and final day.
Oh, that Donya Lucy, they crept and crept and crept. I saw them in 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then with 2.5 minutes, like Robbie said, they took it to the house.
Fresh Air caught 3 white marlin on this final day, and let's run the flag, Peter. That's like popping the collar right there for them, Peter.
Well, this signifies what has happened throughout their day, and a lot of times they'll raise them for the specific day or a total for the entire tournament, which for them was 9 whites and 2 sails, so it would be 11 flags.
Donya Lucy ties up. We're going to take a look at our SFC championship points in just a bit, but again, you come to shore, everybody knows for the most part what's happening. They're ready to get their groove on, have a cocktail here in the DR.
Oh, they
Did they do it?
No time.
Yeah, they know what's happening. Donya Lucy at the end comes on strong. And here's what our championship looks like. You have the Venice winners in Montcherie. And again, you get the catch points added up at each and every stop you go to, and 3,500 for the victory points. So the 3,500 for Montcherie, 3,500 for Donya Lucy. But again, they caught more blue marlin at Venice. That's why you see Montcherie and Breathe Easy ahead.
That's right. That's a combined point total with the actual tournament and with the SFC.
The top three events, that's what will count towards, as far as the event points will count towards the championship in Puerto Rico. But those catch points, they carry over stop after stop after stop. The more events you fish, the bigger of a chance you have of winning that $1 million at the end in Puerto Rico. But what a day it was. What 3 days it's been. What was the number again for Billfish?
It was 108 Billfish releases, and you see the Donya Lucy putting on a clinic on the final day to work up that leaderboard like a bunch of champs. They never gave up, they never surrendered, and they took it to the house.
I had a lot of fun. Let's do it again next week at 10 a.m., but this time from St. Augustine, Florida.
Deal. They can't stop. They won't stop.
Going to your home, the Sunshine State. On behalf of Peter Miller, I'm Robbie Floyd. We'll see you next week. Congratulations. Donya Lucy wins in the DR.
This has been a presentation of the Sport Fishing Championship.